if Danny says we ain't done yet, then we ain't done yet. Right, Blake? We are talking Bloodline, Season 3, Episodes 8 and 9, right now on AFTERBUZZ TV.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Ooh, we're only listening to this 2 more times.
Oh, I can't take it.
I know, I can't take it either. Hello, everyone! Welcome, yet again. Here we are, Blake and I, with another...
And as of right now, we ain't done yet either.
We ain't done yet. We are here for another episode of Bloodline, the after show. It's Season 3, Episodes 8 and 9, Parts 31 and 32. Please, if you're not already subscribing to AFTERBUZZ, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, and if you're listening to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, or anywhere else, please subscribe there, like it, comment, rate us 5, 10, whatever, infinite stars.
Rate us
all the
of them.
stars, yes, please. And always tweet Blake and I, because especially with these 2 episodes, we are very much confused.
We are very much in the not knowing.
We're confused. I'm Alison Dean. You can find me everywhere at the Alison Dean, and my most fabulous co-host, Blake.
Blake V. What's up, everyone? You can find me everywhere at Blake V Media. And man, Allison, these 2, I said it before that things were getting tricky, but
Tricky.
these last 2 take the tricky cake. I mean, a lot's going on. We are very confused.
We should open with that song. It's tricky.
Yeah, yes.
It's tricky, right?
That's 100% what this is.
Okay, anyway. Yes, we feel... Okay, well, let's start with Episode 8. Because
Yes.
Episode 8, there was still some containment of things making some sense.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
We didn't get any Eric O'Bannon or Chelsea. We got inferences to them, but that's about it. We got a lot of Ozzy in Episode 8. And then we got a lot of not Ozzy. A lot of Ozzy. We got some Sally, a little John, a sprinkling. Well, we got a little bit of Kevin, too. So anyway, let's start with Ozzy because, good Lord.
I'd like to recommend something before we dive in.
Yes.
If anybody has not seen Episodes 8 and 9 yet, and maybe you're going to
Don't
watch
watch.
it. Yeah, don't watch this.
Don't watch us.
Just go watch that now, and I swear, devise like a drinking game of how many times you're going to say WTF.
Oh, that's so good, Blake.
Schmammered at the end of that.
Schmammered.
Let me tell you.
You just may be schmammered.
Just schmammered.
Yes.
Okay.
I think I texted Blake after I watched Episode 9, and I was like, did you watch it yet?
Yeah.
And she was like, no. And then I was like, okay, well, let me know when you do.
Yeah.
Because I'm at a loss.
Yeah.
Is what I am.
And
I'm
at
a
first I
loss.
didn't think much of it, and then I watched 8 and 9, and
then
I
she
thought,
goes, okay.
that's what she meant.
That's what she meant.
What?
Allison was not lying.
Allison was not lying.
You know, it's funny, too, before we get into Episode 8, I will say this. So, in the YouTube comments, I want to say in the first Season 3, Episode 1 and 2 YouTube video, there were some comments about the seasons, people that have binged it, and there were some comments about sort of how they were wrapping things up, or there were some comments about how they wrap things up, and I tried not to read all those so much because I didn't want to spoil anything for myself, but I did read them, and not that they were spoilers, but just in the sense of people's opinions on what happened.
The overall takeaway from
in
season
the season,
3.
right?
Yeah.
And I really wanted, or I mean, I'm still reserving some hope, but I really wanted things to be wrapped up in a way that made sense for the writers and for the viewers, right? I mean, we all understand that the show became too expensive or whatever it was, but still, there's been so many great things about this show and about the writing and about the characters and the character arcs. And I mean, the fans too, right? So there's a lot of pieces to this pie, and I didn't want them to, just, okay, that's done. Oh, all right, that's done now.
Yes.
Okay, that's done too.
And I 100% agree with Allison. They sort of, I guess I'll say I got the vibe, like as I was watching it, I got the feeling like, ugh, this is like going too fast, or it's closing in a way that I don't want it to. And I definitely got that vibe too, that maybe for whatever reason, they had to just sort of wrap things up quickly. And as a viewer, I'm feeling that in these last few episodes, and I don't love it, because this could really have played out in a much more lovely, natural, sort of slower way, and it's all just like happening too fast. And we're gonna get into it, but I mean,
I'm hoping-
episode 9 was like
Episode 9 was definitely
just really
a big question mark.
uh-huh.
One big Okay, so Ozzy, it opens with Ozzy. He's going to see Sally again, reserving some hope that maybe he can inspire her to come clean on some stuff. Of course, she's not going to. He says to her, Eric's done a lot of things. He isn't the killing type, and that she's a smart broad. She's running out of time. And I'm like, are you talking about yourself? Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking. Mm-hmm. He next goes to see John Rayburn at work. He's not there. He meets Aguirre, and that nothing comes of that. So I didn't know if they were going to have words, and they didn't really have words. But I thought that they might have some. Or there could be some, dangling of the truth. And
Yes.
I thought we were going to get something, and we didn't.
Or follow up even to John. Like, I
Something.
don't even think Aguirre said, like, hey, some weirdo was in here after you today. Or whatever. I don't think we got any of that either.
And then they planted a strange, well, not strange, because we knew that Roy Gilbert obviously had a hand in trying to kill Ozzy previously. But he calls Roy and arranges to meet him for lunch the next day. But lo and behold, then Roy goes and has a heart attack and does not meet him. But I thought, I was like, oh, they're opening a door that I do want to enter and see where that goes. And then that door abruptly
Immediately shut.
It just shut.
Immediately.
So that was odd too.
Yeah.
That was odd.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, tell me.
Are you going to elaborate about Ozzy's backseat moment, shall we call it?
Yes, but first I
Okay.
want to talk about the Nolan Ozzy
Okay.
moment in the car,
Yes.
because I thought that was interesting too. Like, there were so many things happening between the two of them, in the sense of
Yeah, Nolan has been surprising me in these past couple episodes because he's having these very close, intimate relationships with all of Danny's people.
Right.
Which I guess on one hand you would think, okay, like maybe he grew up around these people so he would know them. But I sort of got the feeling when his character was first introduced, it wasn't that close of a relationship between all these external characters. And suddenly he's best friends with Chelsea, best friends with Beth, best friends with Ozzy. It's like, oh, okay.
right. I totally understand.
Even
what you're
best friends with the Rayburn family now. I mean, as it develops, and I'm sure we'll talk about this more, he's suddenly like very involved with the family, I feel like.
Are you saying like because Sally gave him like an heirloom and yada yada?
Yeah, and he's sort of just like there now and around.
But I feel like he's there with trepidation in a way. Like, he's not he doesn't I don't really think he likes any of them. I think it's a matter of, I think he's still trying to get information or something. I feel like he there's an undercurrent of suspicion about the whole family. There's like, I don't know. I think he's
Maybe so.
I think he's playing his cards, if you will. You know what I mean? But the development between Nolan and Ozzy, like, I think things were happening there that stopped. Father Lopez doesn't really exist.
Oh,
so
what?
now
What?
we're being introduced to sort of, so we were getting from Sally seeing her dead mother. Now we're getting Sally seeing Father Lopez, who doesn't really exist, and Ozzy being aware of a Father Lopez that doesn't really exist.
and
so
that's
things are getting weird.
That's what's messing with me because
Are we having a Lost moment? Like the show?
Yeah,
the show?
yeah, like a completely unexplained
What's
lapse
happening?
of
WTF,
realities.
right.
Yeah. I understand Sally having her internal struggle speaking with the dead mother, and then like separately Ozzy having an internal struggle speaking with the somehow disappeared Father Lopez. But we get the crossover of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And we get Sally talking
yeah, right.
with Father Lopez. And that's what I don't understand.
Right.
That's what I'm not... My dots are not connecting, folks.
That's what I'm saying. And then the next day, Ozzy shows up at the restaurant to meet Roy Gilbert. Roy Gilbert's lackeys are there instead of him. And I don't know if it was because Ozzy suspected that these guys were going to take him and kill him or what, but he beat him to the punch. And boom shakalaka, blew his brains out in the backseat of those men's car.
Okay, and let's talk about that for a second.
I did not see that coming. I will say that.
Did not see it coming at all.
And I did not want that to happen.
And why do we think it did? Why did he?
Wrapping it up. They're wrapping it up. They're trying to wrap. I don't know. They're wrapping things up.
I feel like there is literally no reason that has led us to him doing that so suddenly.
Unless, and this could be a prediction, but so be it. I feel like this entire after show is going to be a mix of
Just a large prediction.
or questions. But based on how episode 9 played out, perhaps in episode 10, we're going to be getting a whole lot of weird alternate reality things happening.
Right.
And
Some
like,
flashback reasoning as to why.
like was
Ozzy did
was
what he
Ozzy
did.
really dreaming when he went into that restaurant and did not really, you know what I'm saying? Like it's possible they do that one of those things to us.
Well, they
maybe
sure hit
not.
us. Sure hit us with a lot of that in episode 9. But yeah, the sort of creepy foreboding thing too was when Ozzy went to do it, he was having like the flashbacks of Father Lopez telling Sally sort of,
Right.
you know, God, he had 2 choices. He could either destroy his children or die for them. And it kept like flashing back to that before he killed himself. And it's like, I just don't understand the crossover between the Sally and the Ozzy. And then Ozzy coming to Sally all the time, one-on-one, like at night and showing up and stuff. Like,
We have to be getting something in episode 10.
could it be like a figment of Sally's imagination, Ozzy?
Sure. Why not at this point?
Alter ego?
Well, really? Really?
I mean, hey.
That'd
Hey.
be funny. I wouldn't see that coming.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
Okay, so Sally. Father Father Lopez, who does not exist, we are thinking now, says anything can be forgiven to her. Nolan goes to see her, and then he drives her to the doctor, whom we find out is the doctor who wants to purchase the inn,
Yes.
which I thought was interesting. Dr. Lorenz. And also...
Even that whole doctor thing I thought was strange too.
It was. I thought, I don't know, it just...
It's just strange.
It was strange. It was
Very
strange.
strange.
And then she visits Roy Gilbert at the hospital. She learns from Kevin that he had a heart attack. And he... who says this? 3 of us left, 2 of us came back. Who said that? Was it Roy or Sally?
Roy said it.
So
Roy
you're
said
right.
it about them. It was Robert, Roy, and a mysterious third who went out into the boat, and only 2 of us came back. I took it as Robert and Roy came back.
Oh.
Ooh, what did you take it as, Alison?
I don't know. I just wrote what? That's what I wrote. So I was hoping that you'd be able to enlighten
decipher.
me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know, but what I took it as is it was Robert, Roy, and a third.
Like, why are we talking about that now? What is that? What is that part of the story? That's what I'm saying.
Anyone?
Okay, anyway.
Anyone?
We're like,
Anyone?
who's out there? who might be out there?
Right, because it's, I mean.
Where's Eric O'Bannon when you need him?
Truly.
I know.
But, you know, I mean, we are starting to uncover more and more about what this whole past is between the Rayburns, Robert and Sally, and Roy Gilbert. And whatever this 3 situation is, we went out as 3, we came back as 2. Like, maybe that's just more, you know, stuff for the past, the previous, you know, past story of what is still troubling them decades later and holding them like captive to Roy Gilbert, the whole thing.
Okay, let's talk about Kevin.
Please.
I thought it was interesting that Gilbert was calling Kevin, well, and I think he was doing this all season, but this is the first time that I've really paid attention to it, but kept calling him son. Yes, I see the future, son. And I know it's
because
like,
of my prediction last week.
Is that what it was? So now it's like resonating
That
more
Gilbert
with me?
is the father of
Papa?
the children, at least one, maybe Kevin.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's totally possible.
I think so.
But so Gilbert asks Kevin to manage this mixed-use marina project, and Kevin thinks it's a great idea because there's a lot of money in it for him. And Gilbert says the Cubans are part of this in some capacity because without the money that they're bringing in, the mixed-use marina, you know, can't really come into play. And he asks Kevin to step in and really orchestrate the deal. And Kevin's like, no, I'm totally uncomfortable with this.
Oh God, which is Kevin's response to every one of Roy's requests, and then he just gets very easily sucked into the whole thing.
Well, I think it's the dangling
Roy,
of
I
money.
can't.
It's the dangling of, you want to take care of your family? There's millions of dollars in this for you. And suddenly he's like, yes, I will figure this out. Yes, I can do this. So goes home. He's in a happy mood. He brings home dinner. He brings home the lobster. Lobster,
yo.
It's a good day when you bring home the lobster. And you can tell now, okay, and I also, this was very suspicious to me. The whole scene between him and Belle and how that played out, I don't know. Like, what did you think of that? Tell us, Blake.
I thought it was the opposite of what we were thinking last week, because we
Yep.
were thinking,
Yep.
like, Belle and Diana, they're going to get together and, like, ban against this, fraudulent activity, whatever it is. Nope. Belle straight up was like, just tell me the truth. Just tell me, and I'll take it for what it is. He admitted, without admitting, he basically admitted that he did what he did.
Yep.
Belle's point blank asks him, did you kill Marco?
Well, she said, I'm going to leave you if you don't tell me the truth.
Yep.
And he was like, whoop, well, yep, we've done this before. I'm not doing it again.
And she asked him, and he didn't say no.
No.
He didn't say no. So
Right.
that's a default yes.
And
And then she just took it. And then she's like, okay, great. Now that we're on the same team,
We'll get
great.
through this together.
Great.
I thought that was interesting.
Very interesting.
I thought that was
I was
interesting.
trying to think. If my lover came home and told me, I've killed a man, I think I'd be a little like, what?
I mean,
Please tell us, how would you feel? If your significant other came home and just slapped you in the face with this news,
but also
How
not
would
just
you
like
take it?
not just like killed a man, but like killed a man that was kind of close to the fam and
slash
brutally
brutally
killed.
smashed his
It
skull
wasn't like an
in.
accident, like oopsie daisy.
Yeah.
You know, wasn't like, oh gosh, the knife, it just flew across and it hit him and ooh, Lord.
oopsie-daisy
Oops.
killing.
Oh yeah, right. You know, he was like, and stab again, and pummel and thrive. Oh my
and
gosh.
smash.
Totally.
It was bad.
Well, okay, that's that. So he ends up meeting with the Cubans.
Yep.
Negotiates a deal in whatever way that goes down. I found
And
it
he
all.
has like no authority. He has no authority. He has no clue. He has no business.
Does he even know what they're
No.
smuggling?
No.
Right.
No.
Okay.
And he has like no business being involved in any capacity.
Right.
I mean, obviously that's why Roy's hire him, because he's just
And a dum-dum?
a dum-dum. He's just pure dum-dum who's just like willing to go along with the plan.
Yeah.
But in his shoes, I mean, I could not imagine being in such a ridiculous high-stress scenario, not knowing what the heck is going on. And he's just like, okay, I'm here. It's crazy.
It was definitely... It was definitely crazy. And then we come to find out, so the deal is done, things happen, then Kevin gets a call from one of the guys, Esteban, saying what happened, and really this was all a big setup, because what do we learn? Esteban is really a Fed.
Oh, the
But
sting!
like this family, I tell you, this family, although Kevin is sort of just a glutton for punishment.
He is
He can't
the
get
poster
away.
child.
He can't get away from it. It's sort of unfortunate in a way that everything happened the way it did with Danny, because you're like, wow, Kevin, really, man.
Yeah.
Really, man,
Yeah.
Kevin.
Which is terrible, but so true.
Right?
So true. Kevin has given me a stomach ache consistently every episode of season 3.
Well, what about, like, since season 1?
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, the whole time.
Yep.
Fair enough. the
Perpetual
whole time.
stomach aches.
I don't know what the heck Belle is doing. I don't know what the heck she is even. I don't even understand that relationship at all. And it really is painful to watch him just like walk into these scenarios. I mean, he doesn't even have, I feel like, any sort of filter to even identify if a situation might be like a setup, or
Right.
don't say that, or don't talk to that person on the phone.
100%.
Don't have a phone record. Don't be gullible. Don't show emotion. Say, I don't know what you're saying. Let me check with Roy, or whatever. Like, he just was like, oh man, sure, yes, I did it all. He's just like admitting everything, just throwing it out to this guy over the phone, and I just want to shake his silly face.
All right, John, this guy Mike comes back to see John. I thought it was really Boston
this
PD.
guy Mike,
Yeah, I
yes.
thought it was Boston PD. No, in fact, it was just his friend playing a joke on him. But this is the first time we've ever seen this guy, and apparently a friend of 25 years, long time relationship that they've basically packaged up into a 5-minute sort of storyline for us. But I guess, you know, he and his wife would come to visit John and Diana like every year and try and convince them to go back to wherever they are. By the way, the wife, Vaughnie, Mike's wife, I was trying to place her because she's been on other stuff, and I literally was IMDbing.
And nothing.
Nothing.
Ooh.
Mike was there. Vaughnie. I'm like, what are other names for, what's Vaughnie short? Veronica maybe? But I'm looking, nothing's popping up. Anybody, if anybody remembers who she is, please tweet me, because it was driving me nuts. Literally, I was like, who are you? I know, I've seen this face. So anyhow, I don't really understand the purpose of this storyline outside of the fact that it sort of segues into episode 9 for us.
Correct.
Because
They've put him in to set him up for the storyline of John losing his mind in episode 9, which we'll get to shortly, I'm sure. But the fact that this guy is such a longtime friend and he had absolutely zero part in any setup prior, like, it's one of those things adding to the list of reasons why I feel like all this stuff is just like crammed into like just finish it. It's like there wasn't
100%.
a lot of thoughts.
Or they're really going to do an explosive final episode that just really, if they don't connect all the dots,
Is it longer? Is the finale like 4 hours?
I don't know.
Because I feel like
It's really 4 more episodes all in one.
I feel like we need a real long finale to tie this one up.
You know, so they're out to a dinner. John meets Mike and whatever, all of them out for dinner, even though it's like totally awkward because he and Diana are still estranged. He pulls Mike aside because he sees that Mike and Aguirre were talking earlier at the police station, and Aguirre hands Mike some papers. So John, in his mind, he's like overthinking this. Oh, this has to do with the case. Mike is the super detective and he's coming in to investigate me. So he corners Mike at this dinner and says, what the F? And Mike plays this off that no, he's actually approaching Aguirre for a separate job opportunity because, he's basically asked John on several occasions and John has consistently turned him down. So he needed someone like, reputable and good. So that's the story. I don't know if that's the truth. We'll find out. But he also says, like, all I really want to do is go diving. ... That transitions us to episode 9.
And then...
AKA Groundhog Day.
It was... We'll get to it in a moment. Anyway, another strange thing that I thought was really sort of like irrelevant. We'll see in episode 10. But the fact that Mike had that weird moment with Diana, kissed Diana.
Oh, yeah, that was weird. But then, like...
It's like...
Then they brushed it off too. Oh, right. Right.
And then he admits it to John later, and he's all like, I already knew about that. She already told me about that. Like,
I think
essentially it doesn't care,
tension,
or...
More tension, I guess. Like, just, like, heightening the tension, I guess.
It's, like, strange.
I thought it was strange.
The whole thing. Okay.
So, I titled episode 9, What the Heck is Going On? What the Heck is going on?
What the heck is going on?
WTF.
Yes.
Who's getting schmammered? No, okay, that was a lie.
Me? What?
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so John is in the hospital. The first doctor that we see says he has cerebral hypoxia.
Yes.
And his nails are blue. We hear that Eric tried to escape prison and is shot by a prison guard. So now we have no idea if Eric's dead or not. Sally picks him up and they get into an accident and we think Sally's dead and John's in a car accident. But then nope, cut back to the hospital. Groundhog Day again. And then, right? It was Groundhog Day yet again.
Yes, and what I thought was interesting was I was watching the tags, the name tags.
Yes.
And the first doctor was neurology.
Uh-huh.
The second doctor was something else. And then the last doctor that came in was psychiatric.
Yes.
So, like, WTF.
Right.
Take your shot ski.
Right. WTF, who's getting schmammered right now.
Okay.
Okay, so then the next person's saying that...
God bless you for doing this chronologically.
Oh, really?
My notes are a hot mess. I was just like, what? Literally every scene of episode 9, I was just like,
what?
Huh?
Well, my notes are rather discombobulated, but but they are in... They're in chronological order of discombobulation. Is that a word? So then the next doctor says he was in the garage with the engine running, so trying to kill himself or something. Or is that the same? That was the same. I think that was a different incident.
I think that might have been the second one.
Yeah, I think that's the second one. Right.
And if we sound psycho to anybody just tuning in, episode 9 was literally like, it was like Inception. It was.
Yes, it was.
It was like
Groundhog Day / Inception.
A hallucination after hallucination after hallucination, constantly waking back up in the same scene. John kept waking up in the hospital with a different doctor, different words, different scenarios, but kept waking. We'll get to that. Anyways, kept waking up in these different scenarios. So it was extremely hard to follow too, and really
this is the example of
really
John diving.
It is very difficult to take notes on. Anyways, that's what we were dealing with.
Yes.
So please continue.
And then we also see that Danny is alive in some of these what we think are hallucinations. So then I was reserving hope. Like, wait, is Danny? Wait. wait, what reality are we in? Is Danny now alive? Is he really
know.
alive?
Like, is this really just another hallucination? It was so much that it was you couldn't tell what
couldn't
was
figure
real.
it out. No, you couldn't figure it out.
We don't know what is real.
Okay, so another thing, we don't know if it's fact or fiction. The feds pulled Kevin out of bed because they are basically they want to get Roy Gilbert, or they're on to him, or yada, yada, yada. So that was a whole thing that obviously I think we're going to wrap up in episode 10. There was some weird Aguirre I mean, I don't know. It was all just alternate realities, weird flashbacks.
Maybe, okay.
He goes home. That was weird. He went home. Diana wasn't there. The kids were there. He makes the kids dinner. The kids pretend like they don't know what he's doing there. It's like the weirdest thing ever.
Okay, and tell me what you thought about this, because I got a flash of, remember, I think it might have been episode 7, like maybe 2 episodes ago, where John was in his motel room.
Okay.
And then Diana just like showed up, and it was oddly like familiar and like friendly. She was kind of like, I'll just stay over.
I just do this all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
I got like a vibe that it was almost like a flashback of like that night or something. I know this sounds crazy and I'm not even explaining it properly, but it was almost as if John was like not in that motel room or someone else entirely. And really John was at home. And that's why they were like, oh, she's not coming home, as if she was like staying with John in the motel. I don't know. There's some flippity floppity happening, and it very well could be.
There's another weird scene with Chelsea, Nolan, Beth at the funeral home, and Eric is in the casket. So yes, Eric is dead? Question mark?
Right. But then Danny came back too, and Danny is dead, but not.
I don't know. Yeah. And like, I think we got a glimmer of who Beth was. There was some past relationship between Beth and Danny. Did you finally get that?
Well,
I like that, like, she's literally been a part of this entire season.
And we still have absolutely no idea.
Well, we've gotten like one sentence about like what the pre-existing relationship was.
I was confused because I thought that I wasn't clear that they were talking about Beth and Danny. I almost felt like they were talking about Beth and Eric.
Oh, maybe I totally, okay. That's totally
I don't
possible.
know.
That's
Please
totally
tell us.
So yes, and then we get to the point where, there was Nolan in the truck with John, but it was like Nolan, and then it was really young Danny and John,
and that happened a couple times.
I literally, my mind hurt, Blake.
I know, and I texted you afterwards and said, huh?
Yeah.
So this happened a couple times where Danny was, Nolan rather, was sort of like flashback turning into Danny for various family members. It happened for sure to John in the truck. Mm-hmm. And even his speech changed. Like, he was talking to Nolan.
I noticed that. I thought that was good.
He was talking to Nolan as if he was telling Nolan a story. And then suddenly he was like, yeah, and then we did this and that. Remember that? Or whatever, as if he was talking to Danny. So it was very much like an intentional flip. And then it also happened with Sally. Did you catch it in Sally, in the Rayburn Inn, when Sally was speaking to Nolan in the office or whatever, and then John walked in, and they were going over the paperwork.
Well, because that was supposed to be a scene with her and young Danny.
And I feel horrible for bringing this up because I feel like this is ridiculous because I should know this, but I thought that John was the oldest the whole time.
No, Danny. I thought Danny was the oldest.
Okay, and I think you're right, because that's how it was in this past episode. I really thought that John was this whole time, because it is so odd to me that Danny, as the firstborn, would even be treated this way.
I know.
It's really...
Well, it all stemmed from what happened with the sister.
The sister.
Sarah.
Even still, though, I mean, I don't know.
No, it's... Yeah, right. No, I'm with you.
That firstborn blood is...
That's why we were getting that glimmer of that, I think, in that scene with young Danny and Sally, and the whole, this is all going to be yours. Lies.
Very much lies.
Okay, so then John wakes up in the psychiatric unit, or wakes up in the hospital, and it's a psychiatric doctor that's coming to tend to him, and Nolan suddenly appears. Sally is also in the hospital in this portion of the program.
In this version.
And now John is not on the DNR list. It's Nolan is the one that's going to sign off to pull
for
the plug
Sally.
on her, for Sally. So we don't really know if Sally...
And was he... without showing the audience this, do we think maybe that John was having like a flashback moment or something that was Danny?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Oh, it's also
See,
strange.
that's what I don't...
It's also strange. Everything is a massive question.
So in those moments, I was like, "Is Sally dead? Is Sally not dead? Is Sally dead? Is Sally not dead?" And then apparently, then we get to another version where, oh, Mike saved John in their diving thing that just happened. Okay, so now John is alive and well, and we think, but there was also a Danny moment in that, and Anyway, I just want to shake the writers right now.
Right.
Because whatever this episode was, confused.
Really, really. One thing that was interesting too, though, is in these various Danny flashbacks, we had like sort of pertinent information like popping through that didn't seem pertinent at the moment, but then like later
Now
thinking
it
back
is.
on it.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was this one where he was on a boat,
Yep.
in the water
Yep.
with John, I presume, and he was like, he was talking about Nolan, and basically he was saying, you know, did you convince him like to leave or something? Again, very strange because why would Danny want that? Danny had that happen to him as a child. Wouldn't he want togetherness and
Yes.
not leavingness and all of
Not
all of
leavingness.
and all of that? So that was odd to me too. Like he went through all of this to re-enter the Rayburn family, secure money to send back to the son, like all of this in terms of togetherness, and then he brings him, introduces him to the family, all of this, and then suddenly wants him to leave. Again, hallucination or no? I mean,
I don't know.
we don't know.
I just don't know. I honestly. And then there was, we got seahorse necklace.
Oh yes. I'm glad you brought that up.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Because,
Yep.
this necklace has been sort of like teasing us, I feel like. Did it come out in season 2, the necklace?
1.
Was it only episode 1?
Season 1? No, I feel like there's been
Various references to it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so now we have...
Because it was given to Jane. Remember? Danny gave it to Jane
Right.
at one juncture.
And then John took it back, right? Because
Yep.
he didn't want Janie to have it. So
Yep.
presumably he's had it this whole time. So what? Did he drop
Leave it in the ocean?
Like intentionally?
When they
And then he like swam back to get it? Or
that was I didn't know what was happening there. I was confused by that.
Right.
There was a lot of like we're supposed to make inferences on
Like he dropped it and regretted it maybe? Or...
Right, Blake. Whatever you're saying, correct. So should we get into predictions? Because I don't know what else to do.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's do it.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
Blake, what do you think?
Well, I'm making a paper mosaic on the table here.
Good job, Blake.
No.
It's like a river runs through it.
no spill too big to fix.
No.
Okay, so I feel like this is I've really been at a loss for predictions this whole season, and this is really no help. I feel like episode 9 was really one big sort of prediction because literally every scenario played out.
Okay, how about we do this? Who do you think is still alive for real?
Okay, that's a good place to start. I want to say that Sally is still alive.
Okay.
I feel like that scene and that path of them getting in the car accident and then Sally being dead, that and then Nolan having the sign up like that was a little crazy to me.
Okay.
I believe that John had this close call. I believe Danny's gone.
Yep.
I believe we are up to where we are.
If they did like 2 other seasons and then it's like, oh, just kidding, Danny's really alive, I feel like none of us would actually accept that.
Right.
As fans, I don't think that. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Like it doesn't. So anyway, I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So I think there's still more from Sally.
Okay.
In the finale.
Who do you think we're going to see in episode 10? Do you think we're going to see?
It better be everyone.
You think? Okay. All right.
I think so because we still have loose ends on every single character.
Do you think Meg is going to come back at all?
Except for Ozzy.
Right.
Well, no, but even still, we need to know why.
Okay.
So we have flashback potential.
Okay.
We literally have loose ends on every single character.
Well, Lord, yes. That
right?
is so.
That's why I think it's going to be 4 hours.
4 hours. Now, should we tell the audience the thing they have to look forward to?
Yes.
What do they have to look forward to next week, Blake V?
Well, we are going to have a very special visit, a revisit, if you will, from last season. from Jamie McShane. Eric O'Bannon is going to join us in studio next week for the finale. And man, do we have a lot of questions for him.
We might not, but let's see if we do. We'll be like,
I have a hunch.
okay,
that
yeah,
we
well,
might.
we're just gonna have tons.
So if you guys have any questions, please reach out to us. Let
Tweet.
us know.
Yes.
Tweet us.
Yes.
Comment on YouTube.
Yes.
However you want to get your questions to us, we're going to try to answer
As many as we can.
as many as we can. I think it's going to be
It
like
was a hefty season.
I
for
think
him.
we're going to have to sit him there, and it's just going to be like rapid fire Q&A.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
And how about this? And this? And this?
Yeah, for my predictions, honestly, episode 9 left me so perplexed with what they're trying to do to set the stage for episode 10 that I literally... it's not like any other season that they've done, you know, with all these weird mental breaks that are happening. Like, for them to default to sort of this scenario of, like, just people going freaking crazy.
Right. And I'm almost getting a vibe for some weird reason of, like... I'm not even sure how to properly explain it, but basically...
Even better.
As if certain characters have not been who we believe them to be this whole season.
Which I don't accept either.
Right. So let's say, like, John was interacting with Danny this whole time, blah, 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 3 seasons later. But, like, really, John wasn't John. Or Danny wasn't Danny. Or, you know what I mean? Or Meg was never Meg. Like, and then at the end we find out it was, like, some alternate scenario all along, and maybe one person was crazy or hallucinating the whole thing, imagining they killed Danny or imagining Sally died, or, you know, I think that's possible too, which I don't know that I'd accept either. If they tie up this whole experience with like a delusion,
I don't accept it.
I think that's going to be a little disappointing.
You know what I wish would happen? I wish they hired consultants to come in and like pre-read the entire season, like someone like you or me, and say, you know what,
like us.
we're gonna figure out how to help you make this the way it should be because this doesn't make sense. I almost feel like it does the actor more justice if a show makes sense at the end than doesn't, because their legacy lives on, and people are either going what, or they're going, oh, that was so good.
It's almost like it could have ended at the end of the trial. Like, assuming Eric goes to jail, the Rayburns are off.
Ugh.
It is what it is.
It
wouldn't have
You're
been
right.
great,
You're
but
right.
it would have made sense.
You're right.
And it would have been like, okay, that's the end of that. But now we've entered this whole, like, rabbit hole of just like, blah, 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 what?
Please do that again.
Blah, 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 what?
That was good. That was good. You're right.
And now we're just, I mean, this finale, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on this finale now. I'm sort
Schmammered.
of... Yeah.
Schmammered. WTF. Blake, I think it's going to be interesting next week.
Yes.
That's what I have to say.
Yes.
Everyone,
Don't miss it.
don't miss it. We're so happy you joined us for this recap, and whatever this recap was. I apologize if it was
We did the
not,
best we could.
If it was not as you had hoped, but we are perplexed. And we look forward to you joining us next week for episode 10, the finale, the series finale of Bloodline, and Jamie McShane, save Eric O'Bannon, will be here. Will he be saved? I don't know, because I can't figure out if he's dead. Anyway,
yeah.
I'm Alison Dean. Again, you can find me everywhere at the Alison Dean. Blake.
I am Blake V. Thanks so much for checking us out tonight. You can find me all the places
On the social medias.
on social medias at Blake V Media.
Yes, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.